The most dangerous time will be when you try to leave. Take his threats seriously.
A feature film called No Ordinary Love is screening tomorrow at FSU's cinemas. It will be followed by a question and answer session with domestic violence survivors. This morning, we are joined answering questions, among other things. One of the most common questions, why don't they just leave? Now, we're joined this morning with Kelly O'Rourke and Iris Pendleton to get a little bit more of an insight into the domestic violence. First of all, good morning to both of you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning.
Now, my first question to you is to Kelly. Kelly, tell me why this is so important for our community.
Well, there's two things that will keep domestic violence a little bit at bay in a community. One is a coordinated community response, which we have in Tallahassee, and the second is more public awareness and ongoing education. So that's something we try to do with the Domestic Violence Council. And this is also Teen Dating Abuse Awareness Month, so it's really important. We have a lot of issues with teens. They're new at relationships, they're more volatile with hormones, and there's a lot of abuse going on in those young relationships that we want to address as well.
Now, when we talk about the young relationships, coming back to love in general, this is something that we all tend to do. We fall in love. Tell me how important it is to you as a survivor to get the message out there for kids and teenagers and even adults to understand that, love doesn't look a certain way.
It's extremely important to me because I was really young when I got into a very abusive relationship. And I think for a lot of young people, they don't know what the signs of a healthy relationship are. So I'm super excited to have this opportunity.
Now, when you say signs of a healthy relationship, can you give me some examples?
I think sometimes it's best done in contrast to signs of an unhealthy relationship. So I'll start with some of those. So if you have someone who's constantly criticizing you, telling you, oh, don't wear that, or someone who's cussing at you, throwing things. Yeah. And I think something else to say too is not all abuse is physical.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's those things. So a healthy relationship is someone who's supportive, they're kind, they treat you like they love you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Kelly, when we're talking about this movie, what did it take for you guys to get everyone on the same page? I mean, it's so passionate and you can see, the love that people have putting this on and the PSAs that you have out there, quick messages, but it gets straight to the point.
Yeah, this movie is a terrific movie. It shows two cases of domestic violence that intertwine with pretty tragic consequences. And you can really see a lot of similarities with a lot of the survivors that we see here in Tallahassee. So we're really hoping that a lot of people will come out and see the movie, kind of recognize some of those warning signs that are in the movie, and then talk to some of the survivors afterwards. We're having two survivors who's going to speak and discuss the famous question of, why didn't you just leave?
Yeah.
People say that all the time. Why don't they just leave? Well, there's a lot of really complex reasons why people can't just always pack up and go. And we're going to be discussing that. So hopefully enough people will see that and maybe see themselves or see a friend in that situation, and they'll be able to. We're also going to have a little piece at the end where, what do you do? Now that you've seen this movie, you see the problems, what do you do about it? And we'll have some things to let you know, actions, steps you can take to help a friend. So hopefully they'll come and see all that.
There's also TV shows right now that are glorifying toxic relationships. How does that make you both feel to know that this is, they're setting a precedent of knowing and, sometimes seeing people like, for example, Chris Brown and Rihanna, that's a big one everyone talks about. She may not have went back, but some people do go back.
I think when I see those reality shows, a lot of times, they're like this, I don't want to name any, but it's Love Island or whatever, where they push this whole toxic sort of fighting, argumentative, and they make it look kind of like romantic. Like the more you battle and then get back together, that's somehow passionate or romantic. But and that's great for TV. But anybody who's been in a relationship with that can tell you it gets dull, it gets terrible after a while. It's not fun, it's not exciting, it's not passionate.
Yeah. Not at all.
Definitely not the right example at all to be setting.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thank you for being so strong and talking about this. This is not an easy conversation. Folks at home, if you're interested in learning more about No Ordinary Love screening, it is happening tomorrow at 6 at FSU Cinemas. That is at 942 Learning Way. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and of course, we'll hear from you soon. I'm going to come check it out.